Cool. Yeah. So we're very excited to have you here. I think we're a little bit early on time, but I think we can start earlier. Maybe Glenn, you can introduce Oracle team and or Wootrade team in general, and you can start sharing Wooracle as a project from the hackathon.
Yeah, I'd love to. So the first thing, like we are Wootrade, right? So I mean, to know a little background on what we do, we're relatively new in this space. The Woo token came out about 6 months ago, but we've managed to grow in popularity pretty quick. And that has a lot to do with our background because the team, they're traders, right? They're some of the top institutional traders in the space. They're Kronos Research. So the project Wootrade is kind of based around a problem that Kronos Research had when they were trading, market making on a bunch of different exchanges, because they market make across all the major exchanges about $5 to $10 billion a day. So that's a significant portion of the entire market. And what they were finding was that when new exchanges want them to trade, it was an extraordinary amount of resources to keep signing up, to putting capital into these exchanges, especially ones you don't really know. Going through KYC processes that could take a very long time. So they found that it would be a lot easier to create a centralized pool of their own and then let these exchanges or trading desks or wallets or whatever sort of trading platform connect to us. So that's Wootrade, right? And we started out in the CeFi space because that's something we know very well from our background. And last year, the DeFi summer, a lot of these trading platforms matured, and we realized that there was a really big opportunity in the DeFi space, one that we wanted to take advantage of. So that brought us here, and we started to experiment with putting capital on chain and doing essentially the same thing, where we bring our prices from our market making and provide that to the traders. And what that does is it lowers the spreads considerably. And it doesn't require as much of a fee to the liquidity providers, which is one of the biggest expenses there, is those fees plus the slippage, right? Now, the blockchain fees themselves, those are a different story, but that's one of the reasons why we're here today, because BSC, much more usable than, for example, Ethereum last night. That's not to say we are, abandoning more of the traditional DeFi communities. It's just that we, being very platform agnostic, when we see a platform like BSC, which has a lot of users and a lot of adoptions and a lot of assets on it, that's a place we want to be, right? I'm sure a lot of the projects you talk to have a similar idea there. So we put 5 pools, and these pools combined, I think they had like 2.5 in total value locked, which is tiny. I mean, most of these projects, they're using TVL as a metric of like how successful they are, right? But actually, we think that's kind of backwards, because that just means you're more capital inefficient. You're splitting up the transaction fees among a bigger pool of people. So we're actually trying to do the opposite. We're trying to do more with less. And with these 5 pools, which was BNB, BTC, ETH, DOT, and Link, we were able to accomplish quite a lot due to aggregators like our partners Dodo. They aggregate traffic to us. 1inch, OpenOcean, they all bring a lot of flow to us. And we do it with a very low fee, like it's like 5 basis points or 10 basis points. When you compare that to like a Uniswap, for example, which is around 30 basis points, it's a very considerable difference, especially for larger traders, right? So one of the biggest problems that we had from this, and sorry, Eric, I'm talking a lot here.
Yeah, if you've got any questions, just ask.
Yeah, just stop me if I'm talking too much.
Don't worry. So we were supposed to start at 7:30, so we have enough time to introduce.
Okay. So one of the problems is we need to be able to control the price. So you need an oracle for that. And at the time when we were building this, we didn't think of it as like, oh, let's build an oracle. We want to compete in the oracle space, because we don't, right? We just needed a way to control the price often and control certain parameters like slippage, for example. And that allows, when traders want to execute a trade, it checks the price from our oracle, And then if our price happens to be better than what they could get on, say, like a competing AMM, the transaction would be smart routed through our pools. And then what we would do in the back end is we would hedge back onto our CFI, allowing that to maintain a balance, right? So we're not getting impermanent loss, but that's a different story. Anyway, the point was the Oracle turned out to be a interesting little product that was helpful to a lot of people in this new BSC ecosystem because we were quoting the price directly into the blocks as a way for our own pools to stay in balance with the price. And well, after a while, we decided that this is something that we want to provide to the entire BSC ecosystem, the entire DeFi ecosystem. It's not part of our core business model per se, and one of our partners is Chainlink. Like we're working very closely with Chainlink to see how we can make our Oracle become more integrated with their Oracle system. And to be honest, when you're building like a trading platform in DeFi, you don't want to rely on one Oracle because if some mass event happens or power failure or something like that, you're stuck with one Oracle. The whole trading platform could be chaotic. So we're not out here competing with Chainlink. In fact, we want to make that.
We have really deep partnership with Chainlink, so don't worry about it.
So what we end up with is a more accurate price than other oracles because the way our market makers are constantly updating it. And the big innovation here, if you're waiting for the innovation is that our oracle, because it's connected to our own pools, is actually tradable. So if we go off the price, if we start quoting inaccurate prices, or we try to, maybe manipulate the markets or something like that, arbitrage or any trader can take that price directly to our pool and then perform arbitrage there. In a sense, they would just be, cleaning us out at a cheaper price. So it's a level of accountability that other oracles don't have yet, right? And we think this is a very unique and important part for the space, because if you have an oracle with no accountability, what does it mean when suddenly your pools go off, people get liquidated, people lose money? That's a very bad situation for any sort of trading platform because you lose the trust of all your users.
Yeah, we can do this Oracle is because our skill set. Can you talk more about logos?
Yeah, I mean they're the quantitative hedge fund, right? So they're quantitative market makers, which means they're trading at a very high frequency, and they're sourcing from the Wootrade network itself is aggregated from a lot of different sources. For example, the top exchanges, and so that's another thing that makes our Oracle very resilient is the fact that it's not just coming from us, or it's not coming from an AMM pool, which is very easy to manipulate. It's coming from all the top exchanges around the world. And that makes it almost impossible to manipulate. And we're able to aggregate those prices and then feed it into the blockchain via the Oracle. So that's kind of the whole backstory. I know this is supposed to be a product demo, so maybe we can show, it's not very exciting, but we can show. But first, maybe we'll stop here. And Eric, if you have any questions, maybe we could clear something up or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a very good introduction. And I think the idea of Wooracle does come from your practice in real. So it totally makes sense. Probably we can come back to more questions after your demo. So do you want to share a screen for a product demo?
Sure, I think that would be good. We have one of our tech engineers he's going to do all the magic on the keyboard, and I'm going to narrate. So
okay. So I think it's pretty clear that you guys have true accountability, right? Because you have your own aggregated pools, and if you report prices not accurate, arbitrator can just come in and make some profit. The other thing you talk about is is your partnership or collaborative relationship with Chainlink. So how do you work with Chainlink specifically?
Well, in the past, the first thing we did with Chainlink was right after we came out, we made it clear that because we have a lot of CeFi trading data, right? This is something that is not very trustworthy in the space, and everybody's always, worried about things like wash trading and things that influence the data, right? So we want to work with Chainlink to have more transparency on that. So that's one thing. And also they're supporting us by creating pricing oracles for our own Woo token, which I haven't talked about because I don't want to come here and show the project to everyone. I want to talk about the project itself. But yeah, I mean, they're providing price oracles for us on BSC right now. Yeah, so that's an important part of the partnership. And from the beginning, they've just been very supportive. Their network around the world, we don't have to really talk about that because I think everybody's aware. And so they're able to introduce a lot of people to us and give us some good ideas. And it's a good relationship.
Yeah, cool. Yes. Do you want to share screen and do some demo now?
Yeah.
Great.
You can't see it? That's not a good sign.
Yeah, I can see the BSC scan now.
Oh. All right. So this is a copy of the BSC testnet. The actual full version is probably going to go live in a couple of weeks, I think. And we're working again with our partners Dodo. We're also working with the BSC team a little bit to optimize some of the way we use the data. This is on the testnet BSC scan, which everybody can see. And this is essentially a free version of the Oracle. So what people can do is, I think we're going to grab a copy of one of the pools. You can see down number 3, there's the get price function where if somebody can call a contract, they can query the contract. Go ahead. Nope, that's the Zoom link. We don't want to query the Zoom link right now. Hold on. I think you have to click on that one. There you go. I think it's our tech engineer's first live stream, so we might be a little nervous. All right, so we can query it, and as you can see, immediately came up the price. It's 11714, which is $1.17, and then on and on. That is the the most accurate price of our token, the Woo token, as aggregated across a number of different exchanges. And then there's a few more below that, which basically allows, like, if our price is not updating after a set amount of time, I think it's about 5 minutes, the platform or whoever's using it, the smart contract, will get a message saying this price has become stale, stop using it, essentially. And that's a very important circuit breaker feature to make sure that the price doesn't go off. And that's essentially it. There's number 4, which we're working on. It's a more advanced mode where we're going to include more features, but that's not our primary concern right now. Right now, we're just basically trying to create a product that everybody in the BSC ecosystem would be able to use in their smart contracts, in their trading platforms, lending platforms, whatever. And it's it's completely free. You just query the contract.
We have to emphasize this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, we want to build trust. We want people to recognize that Wootrade is, their market making and their confidence in their products, because this is a big show of confidence in our pricing and our pools. That we're a project that is moving very quickly in this space, and we believe that by gathering a lot of people, collaborating with us and using our products, it's a great way to really get embedded in the DeFi space. So that's kind of what we're doing there. It's completely open source. I don't know if you want to show them the code. That might, if you're an actual developer, you can actually use the contract API down below to put it directly into a project. You can read the code. It's all there. So yeah, this is pretty much the product that we're working on in its most simplest form. It's a derivative product of our main product, which is trading related. And because it is, it's not our primary business model, it's just open source and free for anyone to use. Yeah, that is the demo, Eric.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, guys. So I think this is amazing. It's very simple and very fast. so in terms of the token economics, because most of the Oracle projects, they do have a token economics where they burn their token to quote price. So in one way, I think most of the projects needs to issue a token to do that, right? That's a goal of the project. But on the other way, I think it's a design of scalability. Because when you have so many tokens and so many calls every day, you do want to, for example, prevent some attacks and also create an economic model to scale the use cases. So if you're afraid, like, what do you think of the scalability problem and the economic model problem?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Eric.
Yeah, and we're really glad you asked.
Yeah, I think we have a very narrow market right now. I mean, we're going after trading platforms on these main assets. And, you know, obviously we're not going to enter like the IoT data field, which a lot of other Oracle projects are. And again, when you talk about scalability, I don't think that's too much of an issue based on the way we deliver the data. And as many people could be querying this as they want at one time. And obviously we could scale it by adding more assets. That's one way. But the token economic model, I think, is going to come later for this particular part. Because again, we're a trading platform, right? Our primary business is in the trading space. So that is where we generate the bulk of our revenue. And you know, this isn't something where we're going to try to force a token in to create an extra step where platforms have to, you know, buy the token and, you know, stake this token, unless there's real additional value being added there. So, you know, we think that we will eventually be generating revenue from this. I think that's one of the assumptions, and especially if we're able to work with other Oracle providers who could, you know, integrate this into their own system, and then we could kind of work together on that. But the token economic model is actually more built around the trading platform, and this is just another way to get people, you know, interacting with us, cooperating with us, and then trading with us, which we think grows the entire Wootrade brand and ecosystem.
Yeah, you can also talk about like we open a tool on Dodo, and Dodo uses our.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, we started this collaboration with Dodo. They helped us, you know, building up the smart contracts, and because they're an aggregator, you know, we get our traffic from their front end, essentially their users. And after a certain amount of time, they were realizing that our Oracle was allowing them to, you know, lose less to things like slippage. And so they started using our Oracle as well. So this is a sort of way where you bring partners closer together, and I think that's the real value in something like this. We become a lot more sticky, right, after you create a product that somebody wants to embed into their projects, right? So I think that's more the bigger picture, and it's not about create a product and then find how much value we can extract out of the people around us. It's more like find out how much value you can create for others, and then, you know, from there, the value will come back. We believe the value will come back to us. So, it's a good question.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I think the user experience really matters, and on BSC's the user experience is pretty good. What are the next chains are you planning to deploy, or are you only focusing on the BSC? I think another question that is related to it is, do you have any solutions on Ethereum as well? Because definitely this problem also occurs on Ethereum, and I don't think I have come across any other oracles doing this on Ethereum.
Yeah, this solution, it's not just a Ethereum or BSC, you know, problem. It's a entire trading industry problem, right? Everybody wants to trade and get more back from the amount of assets they give. They want to have more accurate pricing on everything they do, right? So this allows the users to get a better experience, but it also allows the platform to earn more, which means they can lower the fees. It's just better all around. So we're doing something similar on Ethereum with 0x, and this is in the testing phase right now. But each blockchain has their own advantages, and so obviously BSC, we don't worry as much about gas because it's a lot cheaper. With Ethereum, we're targeting a slightly different it's different user base, let's put it that way. And so we have to, the market making strategies, we have to tweak them a little bit. So that's probably going to be the next rollout. And then beyond that, this solution is very easy to replicate on any chain. And that's the beauty of being a platform agnostic trading platform. We bring liquidity anywhere where there's users and volume. That's the simplest answer. And so we're looking at all the chains that can provide value back to us, either by the trading volume, or building communities together, and other cooperations and things like that. So we're really excited by this explosion in the DeFi space. There are so many chains out there. We recently announced that we're working with Polygon. So we're going to try to tackle the liquidity issue there. There's a lot of projects moving to Polygon, and that's good to see, especially because how close they are to the Ethereum ecosystem.
We care about our users' experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're also we also announced that we're working with Algorand and Cardano because these are very big projects with very big communities and a lot of resources, but their DeFi ecosystems are starting from a lower level than say Ethereum, obviously. So if we can build our trading systems and our smart contracts and our Wooracle into their ecosystems over the long term, it's very exciting to think where we could be. So yeah, we are not specific to any platform. We don't have any biases, or we're not rooted to anything. We just want to see the whole industry grow, and to make trading, whether it's on one platform or if it's cross-platform, cross-chain. We want to see that grow because that means the entire pie, the pie that we're all pulling our revenues from, gets bigger, and more institutions want to join.
Yeah, like our slogan.
Yes. Disrupt markets, empower the individual. It's really about being disruptive in a good way, right? You're making everything more efficient, and that's kind of the motto.
That's kind of blockchain as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of why we're here in the first place. It's about collaboration and all that.
Great. So thanks for your presentation, guys. Claire, do we have any other questions from the platform? So because currently we're live streaming on YouTube and on Bilibili. Claire, are you there?
Welcome any tech questions because our tech team is beside us.
He's giving us angry looks right now. He does not want us going that way. Yeah, Claire, do you have any questions for us?
I think she lost connection.
Okay.
Something. Yeah. All right. So like speaking of the technology, what are the tech advantages Wooracle have other than you just described?
Okay, well, I could summarize it real quick, just so it's simple, and if anyone's joining late, it's basically, it's tradable, which means we're accountable if we put the wrong price, or we try to manipulate the price. Any arbitrage or bot or trader can go directly to our own pools with our own capital is in it, and then create arbitrage there. So that's one advantage. The other technical advantage is we're very, where our data sources are aggregated across a number of exchanges. So it's not like one place you can manipulate. That's number two. And number three is we update very frequently, right? It's in our own interest to update very frequently because our pools are connected. So if you are using this Wooracle, your users will be getting better pricing, more accurate pricing, more consistently. So that's a big advantage over time. People will start to recognize, for example, if you're like a centralized futures platform, that's, it's a lot. Your users will, make more money, or they will not lose as much money. Maybe a better way to think of it, over the long run. So that's, I guess, the third advantage. And then the fourth advantage is it's free. So
yeah. Did anyone share this link to the group?
Yeah, I don't think we did share any links, but
yeah,
I mean,
I think we can share this link, and I think tech team, maybe some tech guys can check our contract.
Yeah, and so you see, like,
and if you have any further questions, just feel free to connect to us.
Yeah, so we just created another. What's the price of Bitcoin right now? 55,369. 52500.
Right now it's 2 weeks, right?
0.1 bips.
Oh,
10 bips, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So in terms of the developer community, so like how you guys are doing development? Are you involving any community developers? And how the developer community can actually participate in Wooracle later?
Okay. Well, I mean, if you are a third-party developer and you are creating smart contracts and you want to use this, I mean, you definitely can get in touch. We have some docs, I think, on the website, or we will have them soon. And so we would welcome anyone to use it, to test it, to give us feedback. That would be great. But if you're talking about like community developers who want to build entire products around this, I mean, this is what we want. We want more people to be using like Wootrade products. And right now our products in the DeFi space, it's quite shallow because we're mostly focused on CeFi. So if anyone wants to build DEXs around this or other sort of lending or trading platforms, bridges, cross-chain bridges, like definitely get in touch with us. Yeah, I mean, jump into our Telegram.
Currently, if you don't know how to connect to us, you can just connect to DoraHacks to Claire, and Claire can bring you to us.
Yeah, or you can jump into the Wootrade Telegram chat. It's one of the most active chats on the internet because we're in there like all the time talking to people, and it's we welcome as much support on the tech side or on any as possible from our community. I think it's one of our things we pride ourselves on at Wootrade is having an active community.
Yes, and if you are a developer, maybe you can also connect to us because right now we are hiring.
Yes, our team is expanding very quickly. So if you have any skills in development or legal, fintech, these areas, front-end, back-end development, like that's smart contract developers, all these, it's very important. Definitely get in touch because we're moving very quickly, and we think we have a very big future ahead of ourselves. Our ambitions are quite large, and they should be because the team backing us, like the founders who, from Cronus Research are already quite big. So if we don't do something big in this space, then we're just wasting our time. So definitely would love for people to get in touch, whether it's through collaboration or they just want to get involved or they want to even, look for potential job opportunities with Wootrade. That would be great.
Great. Yeah. So thank you guys. I think that's all the questions for today. So for the live streaming video, it will be uploaded within 3 days to both YouTube and Bilibili, and we'll share the video with our community as well. So thank you guys for demonstrating the product and introducing Wooracle. I think Wootrade is pretty famous in the industry, and everybody knows that. And the Wooracle is a very exciting product derived from Wootrade, and I think the team is amazing. And also thank you guys for joining the hackathon. It's still ongoing, so any developers from the Southeast Asian region can submit project to HackerLink. And we have an ongoing quadratic funding grant. So the communities can vote for project they like. And I think the hackathon will end on May 30th, right? If I'm not remember wrong. Yeah, so I think it's end of this month. Yeah, and we will have we'll have an announcement of the winners and the ranks and etc. Yeah, so it's a very interesting game. Yeah, so lastly, thank you guys for joining the live streaming today, and good luck with the development. And if anyone got interested in Wooracle, you can contact the team directly, or you can contact DoraHacks, and DoraHacks will forward you to the team.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
And Eric, yeah, thank you for having us, and you know, thank you for the work with the development community in China. It's obviously you guys are one of the biggest movements out here. So we'd love to support things that you're doing in this space to make the space better for everyone. So yeah, keep us in the loop.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.